Good morning to one and all present here. I am Adubala from Biological Science Department. Today we are going to see about the Kothari Commission 1964 to the period of 1966. Next we move on to the introductions. First, he is the person who introduced the Commission of Kothari. Kothari Commission was set up in the year of 1964 under the chairmanship of D. and Daukal Singh of Kothari. This was the sixth commission in the history of education. That is understanding in the nature. It is reviewed almost all the aspects of education system without the limiting itself of any one particular aspects, unlike the other commissions that came before and after it. From these features, they have a unique features of Kothari Commission was this international composition. Apart from the 11 Indian members, it had members from 5 other countries such as USA, UK, USSR, France and Japan. Next, we move on to the need for appointment of commissions. In this first need, we have to comprehensive policy. Comprehensive means it is nothing but it is an understanding policy of education. That is inspect of number of educations committees after the independence. That is to satisfy the progress would be achieved in this need of appointment. After that, we have to detailly studied, even though a good detail of expansion that is to be facilitated that took place, it was the expense of quality. After that, we have to emphasize the role of people in the development of national, and after that we have to share the national development along with the government. In next we move on to the need is overview of the educational development. In this part we have to integrate the between the various parts, and we have to consider the whole fragments in these needs. Next we move on to the positive approaches. That is to be nothing but it is the status of the teacher. The teacher community had been neglected, suffering many hardships, requiring a positive approach of the problem. Next, we move on to the Kothari Commission section. There is a 4 section. First section is introduced into a details of the general problems. It is nothing but it is only for the approach of the general problems only. Next, we move on to the section 2. In the section 2, only it is deals with the education that is approach in the different stages or different approaches that in the place of different sections. In the third session only we have to deal with the implementations that was were very various recommendations and various thoughts and various rules regulation restriction that has come under the section 3. And fourth one is the consistent of supplementary papers. There are the 4 sessions of Kothari Commission session. Next we move on to the Kothari Commission's important objectives. In this particular Kothari Commission objectives, behind the various list of objectives is there. First, we have to produce or provide policies and guidelines for the development of education in our India, and we have to find out the problem, and we have to evolve a general pattern of education in the India, and we have to examine the every aspect or every type or every kind of Indian education sector. And we have to, although the Kothari Commission was established to review the entire education system, we have to two important domains were left out of the preview. First one is a legal education, and then the other one is a medical education. Next we move on to the recommendations. There are 23 recommendations in this point of view. First one is the defects. There are any defects in the existing education system, and we have certain aims in the education, and there is some methods of teaching what we have to learn and what we have to deliver a content. That's are the methods of teaching. Next we move on to the textbook. What are the textbook we have to follow, we have to approach, that also come under the textbook. And the curriculum, what is the curriculum systems we have to followed by the particular area. Next we move on to the educational structure and standards. There are the structure means primary schools and primary schools and secondary and senior secondary school. There are the structures and standards, physical welfare of the students as well as the education of the women's in this part. And there are some guidelines and counseling also, problems of supervision and inspection also. There are three language formula. It is nothing but we have the Hindi, Tamil and English. There is the three language formula. And distance education, we did not come to the college, we did not come to the school. We have to formulate in this particular form of education through their online mode, that is called as the distance education. And selective admission, vocational education. Vocational is nothing but it is come under the job securities, that is come under the vocational education. And education on morals and religions also, university autonomy and teacher education, adult education, university aims and objectives, working experiences and evaluation. These are all come under the 23 recommendations in Kothari Commission. Next we move on to the recommendations. There are the diagrammatic representations of the recommendations. Next we move on to the brief details on important recommendation of Kothari Commission 1964 to 1966. First we have to provide a free and compulsory education to all those in a particular age period of 6 to 14 years. It is a compulsory of education for the children. Next we have to implore or explore a particular language. There are the Hindi speaking states and Tamil speaking states and English. It is we have to adopting the three language formula at the state level. And next the Kothari Commission recommended promoting the regional language. Regional language is nothing but Sanskrit as well as the international language. After that, that is to be preferably English. The Kothari Commission recommended providing favorable and adequate service conditions for the teachers as well as the students. That is necessary to freedom to conduct a publication to those findings. After that, to promote a social justice in this particular Kothari Commission, that is focused on the girls' education. It is nothing but women's education, education of backward classes people and tribal people and physically and mentally handicapped people. They are focused in this particular point of view or particular aspects of this education, as science and maths are the integral part of the growth of any nation. In the Kothari Commission only we have to recommend making the maths and science is the integral part of education. It is important. In this we have to improve the education at the university level and to paying the special attention to the postgraduate. It is nothing but it is a PG level research training, providing adequate library and laboratories and funds. These all come under the brief details of the important recommendations. Next we move on to the results of Kothari Commission recommendation. In this particular education, we have to align the particular part. First we have to 10th plus 2 and plus 3. It is nothing but secondary education, higher secondary education, as well as the 3 pattern, means it is a UG pattern as well as recommended by the Kothari Commission. In this, one of the particular or important recommendation of the Kothari Commission was the national policy on education. That is, bill was passed in the parliament under the leadership of the former or Prime Minister of India, Indira Gandhi. It has been reported in the National Policy in Education in the year of 1986. In this, former Prime Minister India of Rajiv Gandhi have influenced by the recommendation of Kothari Commission. As this part, it is implored or stratified into national bodies and state bodies and central board. Next, we move on to the work experience and vocational education. In this part of work experience, we have to implore or we have to define a participation in the productive work or in a school, whatever it may be, school or a home or a workshop or a farm, factory, whatever it may be. The general education is one of the important integral part. We have to implore or we have to inculcate the particular point of education through the work experience. Next, vocational education. It is the another program. It is to be the closer relationship. It is a productivity, and we in the lower age of secondary students, that is to be 11 to 16, it is vocational education should ultimately be provided to 20% of the enrollment. And higher secondary group of people, it is limited in the age of 17 to 18. Enrollment should be interest in 50% of the total point of view. And next we move on to the language policy. In the recommendation at lower stage, we have to compulsory, we have to inculcate a mother tongue to the religion language. After that higher primary stage, we have to inculcate or imparting the two language should be compulsory. For example, mother tongue or region language or nothing but it is a official language or a associated language. It may be the English or Hindi. After that secondary language, we have to in the part of secondary language we have to know three languages. It is a formula of the compulsory basis. Next, we move on to the essential of curriculum improvement. In this part, we have to upgrade it in the regular basis. We have to learning the new aids of teaching, learning materials, and orientation of the teacher should be in the changes in the curriculum, and students should be given the freedom to experiment with the new curricula situated to their needs also, as well as the formation of the student teachers association for the growth of the teacher and providing the stimulus to inculcate the development or to approach the development or the growth. Next, we move on to the differentiation of school curricula for the boys and girls as well as the both co-educations in the period of school curriculum. We have to recommendation of the Hansa Megata committee that there should be a no difference of curricula on the basis of the sex. It is not depending on the boys and girls. It is